What's up, y'all? On part 1 of Lessons from 2018, I talked to y'all about 2 of my top 4 lessons that 2018 taught me. They were to not take anyone or anything for granted, and that taking time for yourself is absolutely important and necessary. Now, this week, as promised, I wanted to talk to you about my top 2 lessons from 2018. Hey, y'all ready for part 2? Yes, sir! Now, these top 2 lessons are pretty universal, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you can identify with them because you probably learned them at some point in life or another. But this one got taught to me extra hard last year. Number 1 is learning how to trust God more. Now, this was the number 1 lesson because 2018 was disrespectful. I started out 2018, well, the end of 2017, 2018, in the hospital and sick and confused and not knowing what was going on with me. And then in March, I had another hospital visit where I actually had a sinus infection, and then I found out that emergency room bill and some other bills that I had accrued over time weren't covered by part of my insurance. So now not only was I sick and confused, now I was in more debt than I had ever been. And then, go on a little bit further down the line, start losing people who I held near and dear. Like I told you on the last episode, I lost DeAndre, I lost OB, one of my uncles, Uncle Ludell. It's just people, it seemed like people were just leaving left and right. And I can't forget my bro, Marcus Johnson. May they all rest in peace. Listen, I feel like he was just throwing darts at me left and right, like, bang, can you handle it? Ooh, can you trust me? Yeah, you're sad, you're upset, you're overburdened, you're overwhelmed right now. But what you gonna do about it? Are you gonna try to handle it yourself? Even though I know I couldn't, but there came a point where I just told God, I said, I can't do it. I don't know how to handle this. I've cried these tears, I've gone on these long walks, I've screamed into my pillow. I'm not a wall puncher, but that wall over there definitely almost got it. And I really can't do this without you. And it was at that point when I began to turn my problems over to Him. What does the scriptures say? Cast all your cares upon Him, for He cares for you. I was trying to handle everything on my own and trying to leave God on the back end. I was worrying, I was frustrated, I was overwhelmed, like I said. But when I gave all my problems to Him, the peace and the comfort that I had, it can't be explained. And so learning how to trust God was one of those lessons where I just had to surrender me. I had to just give up and say, God, you got it. Cause you got it. Like, now, lesson number 2 was a rough one. Because y'all ever had somebody who does you wrong, you know they did you wrong, everybody else knows they did you wrong, but they refuse to acknowledge their wrongness and just won't apologize, won't even admit that your feelings are hurt or that they could have possibly stepped out of line? Yeah, that's how a good chunk of my last year went. Lesson number 2, learning that forgiveness is more for me than the other person, was one that dug at me almost all the way till like Thanksgiving. I just couldn't get past the fact that somebody could consciously not care even after a relationship that we had, or if we had a friendship or you were family or whatever the case. But learning to accept apologies I never got. Learning to get over the betrayal I felt, the hurt feelings that I had. Learning to understand that sometimes people just won't care and you can't harbor that. because holding a grudge or not forgiving somebody is basically your own form of cancer. It's not gonna hurt them. The longer you hold it, the more it's gonna sit and the more it's gonna grow in you, and then it just turns to bitterness. The other person's, living their life, not worried, not caring or anything, but you're sitting over here still harboring it, still, just moaning and groaning over it because you just feel so hurt, and they could care less. So forgiveness really is freedom from bondage that you put on yourself and that the other person put on you. So set yourself free. Learn to forgive. And like I said, even if the other person doesn't ever see the error in their ways, you just have to pray for that person. But learn to forgive. There's no need of you being in bondage for something you didn't even do. So now that I've given you my top 2, you now have all 4 of the top lessons for me from 2018. I hope that you can apply them somewhere in your life. I hope that they've helped you grow and that you've taken them to heart. Some of you may not have needed to take them to heart, but those that needed this, I pray that this blessed you. And for those that left comments in the last video, I appreciate it because some of y'all's lessons have really impacted my life in the last few weeks. So, thank you. And as always, please stay tuned for the